Alright everyone, welcome back to more Umineko. It is nearly about 12 AM over here, and in my opinion, it seems like the perfect time to be playing this game. So I'm looking forward to it once more, and if anything else, I hope you all continue to enjoy. Thank you all for the love and support, and let's continue on. Alright guys, welcome back.
その道の専門家ではありませんが、メッセージボトルの筆跡に関してだけは、日本で最も詳しいと自負していますとも。
At that point, Ange set a book on the table with a thud.
これは初めて見るものです。
He prided himself on his thorough knowledge of all the literature related to Rokkenjima, but he looked bewildered at this binding that he had never laid eyes on before. Ignoring him, Ange silently flipped through the pages, opened to one of them, and showed him. On that page was a handwritten paragraph beginning with, "To my dear witch apprentice." And, at the end, there was a signature in capitals that said, Beatrice.
それは...
The instant he glanced at it, his face went pale. She knew the answer before asking, but Ange asked it aloud anyway.
このページに記されている文章の筆跡は、メッセージボトルの筆跡と一致しますか？
いや、持ち帰って詳しく調べない方には。失礼だが、この本は一体、どこに？
The man stretched out his hand, but Ange nimbly pulled it out of his reach, as though telling him not to touch it with his filthy hands.
ありがとう。その反応だけで結構です。今日はありがとうございました。これ、お約束の謝礼です。
As she stood up, clutching Maria's diary, Ange casually tossed a wad of 10,000 yen notes wrapped with a band of paper onto the table. As she turned her back to him and made to leave, the man raised his voice as though clinging to her. But Ange never stopped walking.
お願いだ。その本は一体。謝礼はいらない。その本を見せてくれ。
私とあなたはウィッチハントの同志だけど、求める深さが違うみたい。あなたが楽しんでるのは猫箱の外側。そして私が知りたいのは猫箱の内側。そしてこの一冊は、その猫箱を開く鍵ね。あなたには過ぎてるわ。じゃあね。Goodbye, gentlemen. Have a nice day.
待ってくれ！スマデラさん！
His voice didn't reach her. She had already joined up with Amakusa and gone into the car.
収穫はありましたか？
最後の最後にね。やっぱりそうだった。メッセージボトルを記したのは、ベアトリーチェ本人だった。
そいつはクールだ。魔女は実在するで決着で？
さあね。寝ていい？あのおしゃべり教授。きっと講義では自分の世界に入っちゃって、寝ちゃう子続出だと思うわ。
どうぞどうぞ、お休みを。
しかし、うまくいくもんね。あいつ、私のこと、スマデラだと最後まで信じてたわ。
The Sumadera family had cast out a net beforehand over any people Ange might try to contact. They had offered a reward for anyone who could detain Ushiromiya Ange if she appeared. Ange had foreseen that and snatched it away. She had called herself Sumadera, and after skillfully tricking the man by saying her own subordinates would set up an ambush, she had taken him with her. So when the Sumadera pursuers reached the professor's house, there was no longer anyone there.
家人の話では、午前中にスマデラを名乗る若い男女が訪れ、教授を連れ出したきり、まだ帰宅しないそうです。裏をかかれた可能性が。
いけない子ね、エンジェちゃんは。そういう悪知恵、姉さんの血なのかしらね。
I wouldn't hold it against her.
あんなに名乗るのは嫌だと言ってたスマデラの名を気安く名乗ってくれちゃうなんて。そのうち教授もお戻りになるだろうさ。そしたらソチャでも振る舞わないとね。
了解しました。
私を手玉に取ったつもりかしら。やんちゃな子なんだから。
What a demonic look on her face. Kasumi violently stamped her heel. I'll teach you about my magic of origins. No, I taught you before, right? And you used to be able to use it. Did you forget? You were also a witch apprentice, Ange, with your name entered into the marriage sociere, weren't you?
私も魔女に加えてもらったんだっけ?
I closed Maria Onechan's diary and flopped down on a very high-class looking bed. Since I had fallen into a pretty deep sleep in the car, it was taking longer than usual for drowsiness to set in, and I had been spending a long time reading the diary as I waited for that. This was a super expensive hotel in the city. Expensive hotels that are often used by the rich and famous have an abnormally strong duty of confidentiality out of concern for their various circumstances. This made it a very convenient place for Ange on the run from her pursuers. The idea that runaways spend their nights hiding in cheap hotels is a commoner's way of thinking. For Ange possessed all the wealth of the Ushinomiya family, the life of a runaway was truly comfortable. Of course, as a man, Amakusa was in a separate room despite being her guard. Ange was using the bedroom of the suite while Amakusa was lying down on the living room sofa. Amakusa said something about how the sofa here was more comfortable than his own bed recently. Poor guy. When I looked at the clock, I saw that it was almost 2 a.m. Still not getting sleepy. I sighed deeply. Even though there was no wind, I suddenly got the feeling that Maria Onechan's diary had fluttered open. Then, Onechan appeared. Wait, why did I hear that sound again? Did something change in her character description? Alright, let's check. The Witch of Origins, who will live for the next 1,000 years. Yep. At a glance, protected heavily by Beatrice, who understands her true value, she is in alliance with Beatrice. Well, nothing else changed. Okay. I thought, like, every time I hear that sound, it meant that, you know, something happened at the character bio. But, I guess not. Her form was no longer the normal one that I knew. She was wearing the dress that Beatrice had given her after acknowledging her status as a witch.
もう寝ないと明日が辛いよ。
私も魔女なら魔法が使えるのよね。
うん。使えるよ。教えてあげたでしょ。使い方。昔は使えたはずだよ。
覚えてる。使いたくなった。
寂しくなった？
別に。毎日枕が違うくらいのことで辛くなんてならないわ。
魔法の最初の一歩は、寂しいからとか、退屈だからとか、そのくらいのささやかな理由でいいの。
眠くなるまでの暇つぶしだとしても。
うん。エンジェがもう一度魔法のことを思い出してくれて、マリアは嬉しい。
I don't like that look on her face. It's like the annoying Maria's coming back again. The cackling one. It's been quite a long time since I last used magic. At one point with Maria Onechan's introduction, I touched the corner of it and opened the door a tiny bit. So, I should still remember that sensation.
今のエンジェはかなり魔法の力が衰えてる。基本に忠実じゃないと難しいよ。
うん。四方を確認。静かな空間を確保。
天草さんは？
寝てるわ。
After opening the door to the living room a crack, I could see the blanket caterpillar on the sofa wall over in its sleep.
今のエンジェの弱い魔力では、半魔法力の影響を受けすぎる。人の姿だけじゃない。声も音も気配さえもエンジェの魔法の邪魔をする。それらを完璧に立って、古代魔術師たちがアトリエを閉ざして孤独を守ったように。
覚えてるわ。人間の存在自体が魔法を妨げる。 故に、人に魔法を見せるということそのものが、とても高位な魔女の証だったわね。
Obtain a quiet space for yourself alone. That should cover it for the preparation of a space to use magic.
次に、よりしろ。今のエンジェには、自転車の補助輪、いえ、チェーンくらい大事。
これは、当然、無理よね。
Ange rubbed her own head. She was wearing hair accessories with pink beads attached. They felt a little childish for Ange's style, but she had never taken them off for a single day.
今のエンジェにはとても無理。あの日から一日も休むことなく修行していたなら、あるいは今頃は呼び出すことができたかもしれないね。
今から修行したら、どのくらいかかるの？
魔女の修行は、幼き日の1年が、老いの10年と同じ価値があると言われてる。相当の覚悟がいるよ。
それこそ、後ろ宮金蔵くらいに？ピアノもバイオリンも魔法も、幼い頃からの英才教育が大事なのね。
今のエンジェは、初めて魔法を使えた時よりも、その力が落ちている。無理をしないで、基本に忠実に。
After regretfully rubbing the things on my head one more time, I let it go. Then I started fishing through my knapsack, looking for anything that might make a good vessel.
これなら、よりしろにはぴったりじゃない？
懐かしい。それならば、今のエンジェでも召喚できると思うよ。それには今、主がいない。
You know, every time she makes that look, I'm seeing a slight resemblance to when Battler was being aided by Virgilia, and we all know how that turned out. So now we have Maria aiding Ange in her little path to becoming a witch herself, and I have a feeling if she's not careful, Maria may betray her as well, and she might continue that evil cackling again as per usual.
エンジェが新しい主になるのも可能なはず。
Among the things that look like good vessels, I took the one I thought might possess the strongest magical power, and set it on the side table near the bed with a clunk. It was a shady-looking stake-shaped weapon embellished with an occult design. A stake of the 7 stakes of purgatory, used by witches to offer sacrifices. In the course of their search for evidence, the police had collected a large amount of junk. After the investigation had finished, this had been faithfully returned to the Ushiromiya family. I found something there that I had seen in the illustrations in Maria's diary and took it home with me.
煉獄の七杭は、もともと7本で一揃いだった。気の毒にね。今はもう、彼女1本だけ。
One-chan smiled, looking lonely. I pulled another book out of the knapsack. This was another old-fashioned, blatantly occult-related book. But this too was a book to be written in. It was one of Maria One-chan's elaborate notebooks. This one was not a diary. It was a grimoire, which she had written as a witch. The 7 stakes of purgatory were Beatrice's furniture, created by her and employed only for her sake. But since Beatrice was a witch of marriage sorcière, they could also be employed by Maria, who was a witch of the same alliance. For that reason, the method of summoning the 7 stakes of purgatory and how to handle them was written about in great detail in Maria One-chan's grimoire. And, as another person with her name in the same alliance, I was also permitted to employ them.
この杭は、7姉妹の誰？
マリアの魔導書に、彼女らの特徴がよく記されてるよ。七杭の姉妹は、名前を間違えられることをとても嫌う。召喚する前によく彼女らの名前を思い出して。
A colossal number of pages telling of the 7 stakes of purgatory. They describe the 7 sisters in great detail. Yes, quite a long time ago, I think I learned these pages almost by heart. The more I read it, the more I start to remember. By the illustrations and identifying characteristics written in the grimoire, I could tell that the stake in my hand was the stake of Mamon. In the past, I had been summoning them without any vessel because I never had any stakes. So this was the first time I had gotten a good look at any of the 7 stakes, not just Mamon.
マモン。 五女。七つの大罪の強欲を司る。すごい子よね。
強欲は、向上心、上昇志向、生きる強さなども司る。決して悪い意味だけではないんだよ。口は悪いけど、とても頑張り屋さんな子だし。
そうね。欲がないってことは、つまり、生きてる理由がないってことだし。
For a while, I heightened my concentration and digested the information that was written about Mamon. The more the summoner knows about the target that's being summoned, the better. Knowledge brings about magical power. I began to fill my head with knowledge about Mamon and build the necessary amount of magic power for the summoning.
魔導書って、ちょっとだけ面白いわね。下手くそな小説を読むより、よっぽど面白いかもしれない。なんだか懐かしい気持ちになるわ。
魔導書は、ただ文字を読み取るだけじゃなく、行間から世界を膨らませたり、挿絵から世界を生み出したりと、様々な想像を要求されるの。生み出す力。これを持つエンジェになら、どんな本よりも魔導書は面白いはずだよ。エンジェになら理解できるって、マリアはずっと知ってたもの。
マモンの知識、これで十分だと思うわ。うん。だいたい蘇った。やってみる。
しっかりね。いざという時に備えて、私の護符を。今の君は、同盟の条約に守られてない。マモンは少し喧嘩っ早いところがある子。あるいは、まだ恨んでるかも。注意して。
うん。身につけることにする。
The seven stakes of purgatory as furniture for sacrificial rituals are treated as beings inferior even to weapons. But that is only when it comes to demons. To humans, even furniture is something to be feared. I fished through the knapsack again, took out a bracelet charmed with a scorpion medal that I had gotten from Maria Nechan long ago, and put it on my arm. I had no need for something like this in the past, but I need insurance.
大丈夫。それには、まだ十分な魔法防御が備わってる。それを身につけている限り、絶対に大丈夫。
Maria Nechan's magical power, in particular the power she could put into charms, was enough to earn even Beatrice's admiration. While it could only have looked like something cheap to a human who couldn't understand magic, its magical worth was incalculable.
さあさあ、罪を許しなさい。煉獄の七杭が一つ。強欲のマモン。
I concentrated my mind. I made the anti-magic toxin that filled my body zero. Imagine a vast untainted space. Doubts and common sense all resist magic. Make the resistance zero and erase the burden towards magical power. Inside my head was the image of a vast space. It was nighttime world where I floated in the air and the neon stars on the ground sparkled. A world where the stars that should have covered the heavens were drowned out by the light from below and the stars covered the ground instead. In the world of a vast night sky with no obstructions, I imagined the wind blowing through freely. Just then, in that room where no wind could blow, the free nighttime wind whirled around. That long-forgotten sensation raced through my entire body. The unique feeling of exultation felt when using magic. From Mamon's stake held out in my hand, I gradually began to feel a pale light. The cyclone gyred around the stake. The hefty stake floated a bit into the air.
見事だよ。ブランクは、君から才能を奪わなかったね。
さあさあ、おいでなさい。罪を許しなさい。煉獄の七杭が一つ。強欲のマモン。その姿を、私に見せなさい。
I slowly raised my hand as I brought it higher than my head. Almost as though it was being sucked towards it, upwards by it, the stake of Mamon likewise floated high up into the air and gradually began to shake. Its shaking grew faster and faster, and then it burst. With a speed faster than the eye could follow, it flew around violently, rebounding off the walls of the room. The terrible sound of it jumping from place to place bore down upon me, trying to make me flinch. But I mustn't lose my mental concentration. Then, the snake, which had been flying around at an incredible speed, finally restrained itself and faced me. It was in the air, just a few centimeters away from my forehead, held back by the defensive barrier created by the scorpion charm. It was trying to break the defensive barrier, eating into it with incredible power, but Maria Onechan's barrier wouldn't be broken so easily.
無理か。食い破れない。
The snake muttered hatefully. You could probably say that I had been saved thanks to the scorpion charm. Without that, my way of killing time until I got sleepy would have become a way to kill time for all eternity. When Mamon's snake realized that it was unable to gouge me, it gave up gracefully and changed its form from that of a snake into that of a person. And now, we can check her bio. Hello there. Wait, why did it give me everyone now? Ah, okay, fine. Let me start with Lucifer. Advanced level furniture created by Beatrice. She's the eldest of the sisters and by extension also their leader. For that reason, she claims to be the strongest of the sisters, but is secretly aware that she is actually the least talented. However, she carries herself with pride every day in an attempt to hide this fact, while living in terror of how she would be disparaged by her sisters if they ever found out. Then we got Leviathan. Often confronts the eldest sister Lucifer on behalf of the younger sister. She has a fundamentally envious and brutal personality and is adept at finding others' weaknesses. However, she is better described not as envious, but as a crybaby who wants her own way. For some reason, she is not very shrewd and always ends up last in the sister's order, drawing the short straw and crying. Here we got Satan. Takes on the role of the ever-angry class president of the sisters. Diatribes tend to fly out of her mouth in rapid succession, so she is feared by the other sisters. Because of this fear, no one is willing to talk back to her, and she is actually quite lonely. From time to time, she will intentionally do things so that she gets yelled at, but none of her sisters will admonish her for it, making her feel empty. An attention seeker. And then we got Belphegor. Is taciturn, assiduous, and the most trusted of the sisters as furniture. However, that is partly because of her demonic desire to turn her masters into lazy pigs. In that sense, she could probably be called the most demon-like of all the sisters. Her flaw is that she is too serious. Conversely, she is not used to being treated with kindness. Aha. And here's who we apparently summoned. Piece of furniture who was the first to become Ange's friend. Really? Friend? She remained alongside her throughout her years of training, supporting her master constantly and greedily so that she could become a full-fledged witch. A special person even among the seven sisters. That's... Friend. Okay. Is the gourmet of the sisters and is known for being a big and picky eater. Her personality is similar to Mamon's and they often vie to beat each other to the prize. She's also always talking about food, which makes her a calming influence among the sisters. However, she also has a disturbing desire to kidnap pretty boys and store them in the food cellar. Okay. As the youngest of the sisters, Asmodee is adored upon by everyone. This might be why she alone is kept out of the way when the conversation turns a little saucy. In hopes that her older sisters will accept her as an adult, she is constantly on the lookout for a boyfriend. However, she sets her sights too high and spends her days fantasizing about the prince who will never come. Okay. In her usual shameless outfit, which I would never be seen walking outside in. Although you could say it suited her in a demonic sort of way.
エンジ様なの？随分とみすぼらしい魔力だけど、本当にエンジ様？
お久しぶりね、マモン。元気にしてた？
てっきり、もうお役御免の家具は何度で朽ち果てるだけだと思ってました。それで、これはどういう余興で？まさか、私の所有者がエンジ様とでもおっしゃるつもりで？ うん。エンジが君の主人だよ。マリア卿。これはお見苦しいところ。先ほどの結界は、マリア卿の。 今のエンジじゃ、ひょっとしたら君にやられてしまうかもしれないって思ったから、ご符を貸したの。
マリア教に、私の主人がエンジ様だと言われたんじゃ。エンジ様、何なりとご命令を。私が必要とされるということは、新しい儀式を、新しい生贄を。もっとも、私を使いこなし、自らの手を汚す程度の覚悟が終わりならの話ですが。
その役割は、私はもう求めてないわ。昔同様に、ただ話し相手になってくれるだけで十分よ。
ええ。それがお望みでしたら、家具は、使われてこそ家具。お呼び出しいただいただけで光栄ですとも、エンジェ様。
Mamona had a slightly complicated smile on her face. She had accepted Ange as her new master because Maria had told her to. But it looked like she hadn't gotten over her discontent at working for Ange with her frail magical power. Or perhaps she had some other reason for hating Ange. But for now, it seemed that she couldn't disobey Ange despite her discontent. Probably because, apparently from the description it said they were friends, so I'm assuming that since she was practicing magic when she was young, somewhere down the line when she started growing up, she stopped and it felt like she neglected Mamona over here. Which is why she has some small, very, and I'm being very generous when I use the word small, distaste for Ange.
それで、私は何をすれば？
わからない。適当に賑やかにしてくれればいいわ。昔みたいに。
お言葉ですが、多分、エンジェ様がおっしゃる賑やかさとは、私たち姉妹の騒ぎのことだと思います。私一人では難しいかと。お忘れで？
そうだね。七姉妹は、みんなが揃うと、本当に賑やかだったもんね。でも、今のエンジェの魔力じゃ、マモンを呼び出すのが精一杯だと思う。他の6人の悔いも紛失してる。
恐れながらマリア卿、私の悔いを経由し、七姉妹に語りかけ、呼び出すことは不可能ではないかと。私を刺激されるのでしたら、その程度の力は、エンジェ様にはお持ちいただきたいところですが。
Mamon giggled. Apparently she wanted me to summon the other sisters without a vessel. I see. Unable to be satisfied with being summoned alone, she asked for the other sisters to be summoned as well. I get it. Greed. Yes, she was like this back then, wasn't she? Bliss for furniture is when it is used. Being used, no matter how roughly, is furniture's joy. Not only that, but no matter how much care you might treat them with, if they are not given a job, they would give them the greatest anguish. Mamon spoke as though to provoke me, but what she wanted was for me to summon the other sisters somehow and rescue them from the world of nothingness. Why not just be honest and ask me to then? Demons really are difficult.
エンジェ、無理しないで。マモンを呼び出せただけで、リハビリには十分だよ。
あら、一人だけでリハビリになっちゃうの？どうせ暇つぶしよ。いいわ、マモン。乗りかかった船だわ。呼べるところまで呼んであげる。
本当に？さすがエンジェ様！さあさあ、早く早く！
Even though she had said it, it seemed that Mamon hadn't really expected to be able to ask this of Ange. She hopped around badgering Ange to summon the other sisters. The consumption of physical and magical power used to call Mamon alone was considerable. It would probably be pretty tough to do 6 more. I'm in awe of the magical power of those who reach the level of being called witches because those people can summon these sisters with no more than a snap of their fingers. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we're going to continue with Ange and the newly summoned Mamon and see how their interactions continue onwards from here. So if anything else, thank you again, and I'll see you all in the next one.